Hey, what's up guys, MGH here, welcome back to another FIFA 21 video. A massive thank you to the EA Game Changers Network for allowing me to capture this footage, and I should say this is not the final build. However, today we are going to be talking about how to start your first FIFA 21 career mode. We're going to go through all the settings, talk about some of the new features, and then later on, in the next few days, weeks, I'll be talking about those new features in more detail. But this is the first thing you're going to see after you pick your team. You're going to have to choose your match difficulty, which of course you can change later as well. The half length, the currency, none of this is relatively new so far, but there is one tile that you'll see here after we look at the Champions League and the Europa League group stages that is brand new, and that is the negotiation strictness. So we'll talk about that in a moment. We've gone ahead and put Arsenal into the Europa League because, of course, we won the FA Cup. We made our way in there. You can disable and enable the transfer window to start off with, and also you can disable and enable international job offers. But this is the most important thing, guys. You need to choose between loose or strict. Now, what does that mean? Negotiation strictness. Basically, how hard it is to negotiate with other teams and other players that you want to sign. If you go on loose, it makes it, I would say, very, very easy, almost as easy as ever to sign players. And also, I guess you could say it makes it similar to FIFA 20 career mode transfers, where it is just very easy. But if you put it on strict, my God, it is brutal. It makes it very difficult to sign the players you really want if they're at rival clubs, if they are worth a load of money. It's very difficult to then, well, negotiate with that team. So if you're Arsenal, you will not even be able to talk to Chelsea. None of their players. You'll just be told, nope, sorry, you're a rival. We're not interested. So you have to make sure you pick the right one there. And then you have financial takeover. You can have up to £500 million, going up 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, and then 500,000, I think it is. And you can do that only at the start of the career mode. You cannot have a financial takeover once you've started. So make sure, if you want a ton of money, to do it there. And if you want it to be easy or hard to negotiate for players, then make sure you set the strictness to the level that you want. Now, into the new pre-season tournament screen, you can see the trophy that you might win. We've got a European International Cup, a Champions Trophy, and a European Shield. Of course, this is down to personal preference. I typically go for the one with the most money. I like it because you're then most likely to come up against the best teams as well. I should say again, though, this is not the final build, so these could change, the amounts of money you get, things like that. I went for this one here, just a little bit more money. And here we are, the new career mode hub. It looks very familiar. It's the same as last year with a new lick of paint, but of course there is some new features there. Straight away, you've got those 3 circles in the middle of the screen, and this is new as well. You've got the tutorials page. You can go ahead and check these out. If you're brand new to the game, I would recommend you read these. It also pops up when you click on the tile for the first time. But those 3 circles that I was talking about, the fitness, the sharpness, the morale, we'll get onto that in a little bit. Now, we're going to jump straight into your inbox. It's the first thing I always do. Check the emails. You can start off with a clean slate once you've cleared these, and it tells you what to do, really, to get started. So, for example, we've got a Youth Academy report. You're probably thinking, how have you got that already? We haven't even started the Youth Academy yet. Well, this is a new feature in FIFA 21. When you start a new career mode, you instantly have a Youth Academy scout and a bunch of players already at the club that you can take a look at. They are fully scouted. You can see what their overall is. You can't see their exact potential, but you get a rough estimate. So here we've got 6 players already in the Youth Academy ready to go. Of course, if they're 15, though, you can't sign them. If they're a 16, 17, 18-year-olds, you can sign them. They just need to be 16 plus. But basically, EA have removed the catalogue from the game, so you can no longer scout a future star, things like that. And to, I guess, try and help ease the pain of losing that, you now could have a future star straight away. And of course, if you pre-ordered the game this year, you can get the home talent scout, a future star type thing, where every time you start a new career mode, you will have a homegrown talent that will be a superstar from your own nation. So in this case, he would be English because I'm playing in the Premier League. But there you could see we got kind of lucky with a attacking midfielder there, We got some other good choices, but you'll see that Rossi here looks very decent, but he's too young to be promoted. So again, they do need to be 16 or more. But this is a really cool feature. You avoid that month of waiting for a first Youth Academy report to come back, and you save a bunch of money because you've already got a good scout and a bunch of players sitting there waiting for you. Now, I don't think this has changed too much. You do get the vision and expectations. I recommend you do check that out quickly before you start playing games, but we'll get onto that in a moment because they are showing new things this season. We have new objectives. We get a scout report here as well. As usual, when you start up, you will already have a few players that the club think you could be interested in. So here you get another one of the tutorial screens pop up. You've got the scout skills, the scouting further, and the detailed report. It's the same as before. It's based off the experience and the judgment of your scout. And of course, it takes a little bit of time to scout players unless they're already fully scouted. I think it depends on the quality of the player, how old they are. For example, if you were to have Messi here, you would see what rating he is. But a lot of these players, you just don't. Here's a good example. Willian, he's at Chelsea in this build. Of course, it's an old build. He's not at Arsenal already. We can instantly see that he's 82 rated, and therefore we could go ahead and try and sign him. And because I'm on loose negotiation strictness, it should not be a problem. If I was on strict, I would have no chance. Chelsea would just simply not talk to me. Here we've got the new scout, Henry Morgan. It's just a normal email that you get through saying that he's ready to work and go out and find some players for you. So we've done the email inbox. We are now going to move on to the office part of the hub, and we're going to take a look at the board expectations. It is massively important that you try and get as many of these done as possible. It reflects in your manager rating at the top there. You start at 80 as usual, but of course, if you fail these objectives, you will slowly go down. But also, if you do these objectives well and you complete them, your manager rating will go up. So the youth development ones haven't changed too much. It is normally within 2 seasons, sign a player from the youth academy, make them play a certain amount of games, which is quite easy. But these are new ones. So we have brand exposure, get 7 clean sheets in home league matches, sign 3 players from Europe. That's pretty cool. Financial ones haven't changed too much. This one is just reduce the player wages by £135,000 a week. Domestic, it's the usual. Same with continental success. It's just to win trophies. Obviously, it depends on what club you're using. If you're going with a team that's in a top 4 battle, then you're probably going to get objectives to win a cup or come at least towards the final of a cup and something like that. Along those lines anyway. All the usual stuff here. We're going to jump into youth staff. You get another tutorial the first time you load into all these things. We have youth scouts, scout skills, and the world map. They have added some new nations. We will talk about the youth academy in a longer, more in-depth video soon. But of course, it's massively important, especially if you're doing a road to glory or you're just using a club that doesn't have too much money, that you get a youth academy system started up. So I always recommend you do this at the start of your career mode. Don't waste any time. Get straight in there. Send a scout out. You can pause the video here if you want to see all of the nations that you can scout. There are some new ones. But like I said, there will be a new video coming soon on the Youth Academy itself. So if you have got enough money to send out a scout, you've already got one, of course, but if you want to buy another one, make sure you get as good experience and judgment as you can. You're looking for that 5-star really. But it's all the same as before. You can send them out for 3 to 6 to 9 months, and you can search for specific types of players, and it tells you how much that would cost. Now, at Arsenal, I would argue the Youth Academy is not the most important thing to be doing at first. If anything, I would suggest you go into your club, into the team management screen, and just see what you need to actually buy. You need to be bringing in players that are already at a high level. But here you can get an idea of the general costs of scouts. A 5-star there would cost me £3.6 million. It's a considerable amount of money, to be fair. But now I would say at this point, you definitely do need to check out your squad and make sure that you've got those gaps filled. Whether it's with the Youth Academy or with signing players, that's of course down to whatever club you're at. But now let's talk about another new feature. We have the weekly schedule. This is how you're going to be managing those 3 circles. You've got your match sharpness, you've got your match fitness, and of course you have player morale. You need to keep all 3 circles as green as possible, and it is vital that you keep jumping back into this weekly schedule, monthly schedule every now and again, making sure you are balancing it out and filling in those days with the activities that your club needs. It's really, really important, because if your player's lacking sharpness and fitness, or if they're unhappy, they're going to lose stats. Of course, in pre-season, they're all going to have very low sharpness, so it's very important, at least in pre-season, you get that sharpness up as much as you can. And it's very important that you rotate your team around. We're going to jump into the monthly calendar, which is what I recommend you use. You get the whole month. You can see exactly what's going on. You want to press triangle or Y and come down to the schedule rules. And this is the most important thing. You need to be changing this all the time, depending on what circle is so far away from green. If sharpness is down low, you need to make sure you get the sharpness up. If fitness is low, you need to get the fitness up. You need to keep changing these things. You can have rest days, recovery days, training days. And those 3 different days need to be rotated equally. You need to make sure, as I said, that those 3 circles are as green as possible. In terms of the best way to start, I have found if you do rest day before match, recovery day after match, and then intermittent training, that seems to be a very good balance. It's a little bit slower to bring up the sharpness that way, but you keep the fitness level high and you keep the morale high. So that's definitely what I start off with, and then I come in and change it all the time. I think for me, it depends on how many games we've got. If we've got a really busy period, you need to be resting the players more. And if it's a bit of a quiet period, you can go ahead and do a bit more training, because otherwise you just lose so much fitness. But anyway, another thing that you've got to do is make use of the development plans. So if you go to the development plan tab, the development tab in the squad hub, you can see what plan they are on. And I would recommend you go through every single player in your squad and make sure they are on a plan that suits your needs. And you need to make sure that you're training their positions. If you feel like you've got a player that's not correctly in their right position, maybe you want to make a right back a right midfielder, maybe you want to take David Luiz in this case and convert him to a CDM, just make sure that you go through all your players and do this. They are defaulted to balanced, which increases all of their stats slowly. But if you do go into their development plan, you can change whether they are focusing on defensive stats, focusing on attacking stats, and they will therefore grow those stats a little bit more quickly than they would otherwise. But we're going to go ahead and jump into Maitland-Niles here, who is, for me, one of the most versatile players in the Arsenal squad. You can see we've got growth plans and we have position plans. It tells you at the top what things will be changing in terms of skill moves, weak foot, and the work rates. And of course, at the bottom, you can see which stats are going to be improving. And most importantly, you can see at the top left, roughly in the middle of the top left, it says the ETA, how long it's going to take for them to grow another overall. Now, one thing you need to make sure you remember, you can only do one growth plan or one position plan. You cannot do one of each. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and change Maitland-Niles to a left wing back. It's going to take 2 weeks. It's not going to improve his work rates or his skill moves or weak foot, but it will change his position and grow his defensive stats to be more suited to a left wing back position. We can go through the rest of the team here, decide if there's any other changes we want to make. Chambers is a good example for me. He's not a CDM, he is a centre-back. He can already play at centre-back, but if you want to change his first position to be a centre-back, it will be really quick because he's already got it listed there. It's just going to bring it to the front pretty much. 2 weeks ETA on that one, and he will quickly become a centre-back. But again, just remember, you cannot have a growth one as well. I think at this point of recording, I was testing it all out. You can't have 2 plans at the same time. So because I've gone to Anchorman there, it would have disabled the fact he would be a centre-back. And as you can see, I noticed. So I went back and fixed it. So this is just as important as anything else, because for now, you don't really need to be making signings if you can go into your squad and change your players around to make them suit different positions and fill in those gaps that otherwise you might need to sign a player for. We're looking at Saka here. Do I want him to be a left midfielder? If I do I want to improve his weak foot? Do I want to improve his defensive work rate? So you can see in the top right here, doing support midfielder would make his defensive work rate improve to high. Or do I just want to change his position? And you can see at this point, I was thinking of making him a left back just because why not? It would take him, though, 154 weeks to do that. Of course, we don't have the updated stats. I think in the actual finished game, when it comes out in a few weeks, it would take it a lot. It would be a lot quicker because he has better defensive stats going into this new game. But anyway, then you want to go into the squad hub, make sure that those decisions you've made are correct, move the players into proper positions. You'll see a load of warnings on screen. You want to make sure that all the players are playing in their proper positions. You want to change formations. You want to make sure that everything you're doing is going to help you out at the beginning of the season and onwards. And all of these things I've done in this video, they're simple but so effective. Making sure that you change positions, make use of this new feature. It is so brilliant. You've seen in my Barcelona career mode, I needed a new CDM. Instead of buying one, I decided to buy a right back and convert Roberto into a CDM. And it worked really well. So you can make use of these things, making sure that you don't spend all of your money in one go on a player that you want, just purely because you haven't got one, when you can just train a player into that position. But this is, I think, one of the best ways you can start a career mode. If you want to come back to this video when you get the game and just have a little walkthrough, then please do favourite this video or whatever you have to do to save it. I can't even remember what you call it these days. Do you favourite videos on YouTube anymore? Either way, bookmark it, whatever you want to do. Just make sure that you take all of these things into account. Use the tutorials if you need to. But thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time for another one.